The story begins in darkness, in a silence so ancient it feels alive. A cave breathes cold air onto the necks of scientists crouched beside bones that have slept undisturbed for 7,000 years. Their headlamps sweep across the stone walls like tiny suns, illuminating fragments of pottery, obsidian blades, and the outlines of lives lived long before history learned how to write. The Danube murmurs in the distance, just as it did when these ancient people walked its banks. In that stillness, the first whisper of a forgotten ancestry begins to rise. Deep beneath the soil of the Balkans lies a story more intricate than any myth, more durable than any empire. For centuries, people asked where the Serbs truly came from. Were they newcomers? Were they ancient? Were they a blend of tribes whose names were lost to time? Legends offered one answer. Textbooks offered another. But now, for the first time, DNA, silent, impartial, and impossibly ancient, is ready to speak. Long before anyone in the region spoke Slavic languages, the land was home to civilizations whose identities have nearly dissolved into the dust. Archaeologists call them Thracodacians, Illyrians, Vinca culture, and earlier groups who left behind undeciphered symbols carved into clay tablets. Their world was alive with rituals, farming, river trade, hilltop sanctuaries, and carefully crafted pottery decorated with swirling patterns that echo the movement of rivers and seasons. They were not wanderers drifting through valleys. They were rooted people. Farmers who grew wheat on the riverbanks, herders who guided cattle across green plains, families who built homes that stood for generations. These early communities were the foundation upon which all later identities would rise. Their bones rest under layers of earth, their DNA preserved, like messages written in the language of life itself. Centuries passed, and with them came the thunder of the Bronze Age. One grave, uncovered on a windy hilltop, holds the body of a warrior. Tall, broad-shouldered, buried with a bronze sword, a spearhead, and a shield hammered by hands that lived 3,000 years ago. Was he Illyrian? Thracian? Something older? Labels may blur, but his DNA links directly to people living in Serbia today. Across that gulf of 30 centuries, a thread of ancestry remains unbroken. The Balkans have always been a crossroads. From above, the region looks like a bridge between worlds. Greece to the south, the Adriatic and Italy to the west, Anatolia to the east, Central Europe to the north. Empires marched across it like shadows crossing a river. Romans, Byzantines, Slavs, Ottomans. Each brought armies, religions, customs, architecture. But beneath the shifting tides of conquest, the local population did something extraordinary. They stayed. Generations lived and died on the same soil, absorbing influences, exchanging cultures, yet retaining the deep biological continuity of people rooted in the land since prehistory. DNA reveals this continuity more clearly than any written record ever could. For centuries, a simplified story appeared in textbooks that the Serbs descended largely from Slavic tribes who migrated into the Balkans during the 6th and 7th centuries. But when archaeologists examined settlements from before and after this period, they noticed something strange. There was no sudden break. Pottery styles changed gradually. Burial customs blended. Houses shifted in design slowly, not abruptly. The archaeological record looked more like a blending of cultures than a total replacement of people. So scientists turned to ancient DNA. They sequenced bones from before the Slavic arrival, during it, and after it, and compared the results with modern Serbs. What they discovered challenged the old narratives. A woman buried near modern-day Belgrade 1700 years ago, during the Roman era, carried a mitochondrial lineage still found among Serbian women today. Not just a distant resemblance, in some cases an identical lineage. That means her maternal bloodline survived for nearly 2 millennia through invasions, plagues, shifting borders, and the rise and fall of empires. And this was not an isolated example. Repeated analyses found strong continuity from ancient Balkan populations into modern Serbs, especially in maternal lines. This means that a large part of the Serbian population descends from people who lived in the region long before the Slavic period. But the paternal side, the PY chromosome, tells a different but complementary story. Many Serbian paternal lineages clearly trace to Slavic ancestors who entered the region in the early medieval period. These markers are strong, consistent, and widely shared with other South and West Slavic populations. The picture becomes clear. Serbs are not solely the descendants of Slavs, nor solely of ancient Balkan peoples. They are a fusion, a blending of populations whose interactions, alliances, and intermarriages shaped the genetic landscape of the region across thousands of years. When geneticists combined data from many studies, the percentages became visible. Roughly half of Serbian ancestry derives from ancient Balkan farmers and pastoralists. The other half carries the fingerprints of Slavic migrations. Smaller but notable traces reflect interactions with Celts, Romans, Greeks, and later steppe peoples. The result is not a simple composition, it is a layered mosaic, each generation adding new patterns to the tapestry. But Serbia's story is not isolated. When researchers compared Serbs with Croats, Bosniaks, Montenegrins, and Bulgarians, they saw a shared Slavic foundation. Yet subtle differences revealed deeper layers. Serbs often preserve slightly stronger ancient Balkan ancestry. Bulgarians have additional influences from steppe origin groups linked to medieval Turkic peoples. Albanians, though linguistically distinct, share deep roots with ancient Balkan populations that overlap with Serbian prehistory. Romanians, too, show connections that stretch back to the same archaic tribes that once spanned the region. Despite modern differences, the biological history shows deep interwoven origins.
Going further back in time, DNA uncovers traces of Celtic tribes that swept into the Balkans around 300 BC. Their presence survives in faint signatures, small, scattered, but real. These warriors left behind hill forts, iron tools, and a handful of genetic lines that persist today like echoes from a distant age. The Roman period added another layer. Roman soldiers and settlers came from Italy, Greece, the Levant, and North Africa, establishing towns and fortresses across the Balkans. Genetic signatures from these cosmopolitan populations appear in modern Serbs, especially through maternal lines. Some families today may unknowingly descend from people who lived in Roman villas or served in legions stationed along the Danube nearly 2,000 years ago. The fall of Rome brought Byzantium, whose influence shaped religion, art, and politics. Later came the Ottoman Empire, which changed culture and society profoundly. Yet, genetic studies show the Ottoman contribution to Serbian ancestry is surprisingly small. Cultural transformation was far greater than demographic impact. The deep Slavic-Balkan blend remained the core. As DNA sequences multiply in labs around the world, a deeper truth emerges. Identity is not singular. It is not a monolithic block inherited from one tribe, one migration, or one empire. Identity is a river fed by countless streams, each contributing to its shape and direction. The Serbian identity, like all identities, is fluid, layered, shaped by millennia of movement, contact, adaptation, and survival. Imagine holding a small envelope containing your own DNA results. Inside is not just a list of percentages, but a mirror reflecting thousands of years of human experience. Now imagine what ancient DNA reveals. Not just your grandparents or great-grandparents, but individuals who lived before nations existed, before alphabets were invented, before cities rose on the landscape. The people whose bones lie in caves and hilltop graves lived through winters so cold, entire villages vanished, droughts that cracked the earth open, invasions that shattered kingdoms. They lived through eras of hope, peace, and prosperity. They raised children, built homes, tended fire, worshipped gods who no longer have names. Against impossible odds, their bloodlines survived, carried from mother to daughter, father to son, across unbroken chains of life. This continuity is the real miracle revealed by genetics. Against the backdrop of shifting empires, wars, migrations, and cultural revolutions, the biological thread running through the Serbian people endured. A lineage rooted in place, adapting but never disappearing. Walking through Serbia today, past Roman ruins, medieval monasteries, Ottoman bridges, Slavic village names, is walking across a living map of human history. Every stone, every valley, every gene carries memory. A memory of farmers, warriors, settlers, mothers, craftsmen, kings, slaves, priests, rebels, and children. A memory of people who lived ordinary lives that together formed something extraordinary. The deeper we dig, the more clearly we see that the story of the Serbs is not about purity. It is about endurance. Not about being one thing, but about surviving everything. A people shaped by the land they inhabited since prehistory, strengthened by the migrations that flowed through it, and defined by the cultural transformations that followed. At the end of this long journey, one truth stands unshaken. The Serbian people are among Europe's most genetically continuous populations. Their story is a tapestry woven across millennia, enriched by every culture that touched it, yet retaining a core as ancient as the stones buried beneath the Balkan soil. The past is not gone. It lives in every heartbeat, every cell, every line of DNA. And as science continues to uncover its secrets, we discover not only where we came from, but who we truly are.